What's up, Raider Nation? Welcome to True Raider Podcast. I'm your host, True Raider. Now, we're starting to get into actual football stuff happening. I'm getting excited. I believe we're only 49 days away from the season starting, and I am excited. So I want to just jump right into this right away, man. We got a couple of things moving on. And first, we're going to talk about rookie wide receiver Jack Bech. Now, there was this whole thing that was happening where there was a couple of the second round picks that were signed to fully guaranteed deals, and that just kind of destroyed uh, the market for everybody, really. It just turned it into this whole kind of shit show where, all these second rounders were looking at, well, do I get a fully guaranteed deal? What's that going to look like, right? And so this is officially from Friday. Raiders signed second round pick wide receiver Jack Bech. And there's a picture of him signing, right? Let's see, I want that hat. All right, Henderson, Nevada. The Las Vegas Raiders have signed second round draft pick wide receiver Jack Bech, the club announced Friday. And this is from Raiders.com. Bech, a 6'1", 250 15-pound wide receiver, was selected with the 58th overall pick in the 2025 NFL Draft. He spent 2 seasons at LSU, 21 and 22, before transferring to TCU for the final 2 seasons of his college career, 23 and 24. Appearing in 49 career games with 23 starts and totaling 133 catches for 1,869 yards, 14.1 average, and 13 touchdowns. In 2024, he was named second team All Big 12 after recording 62 receptions for 1,034 yards, 16.7 average, and 9 touchdowns. His 1,034 receiving yards are the fourth most in a single season in TCU history, trailing only former first-round draft picks Josh Doctson, 1327, Quentin Johnson, 1069, and Jalen Rager, 1061. So a native, I don't even know how to say that. Bech attended St. Thomas More High School, where he won state titles as both a junior and a senior, and was named the second team All-American by Max Preps following the 2020 season. He finished his high school career with 173 receptions for 3,236 yards and 37 touchdowns in 35 games. Now, really, the reason that I want to talk about this is because I saw a whole lot of speculation on social media. A lot of people were talking about that. Oh, well, maybe he's not going to sign in time for training camp, and maybe, this or maybe that, and what's that going to look like? And it can really just put all that kind of stuff to rest. He's in, he's signed, he'll be there, he'll be present. And his deal was only worth $7.2 million over the course of 4 years. So I don't see why there was really a holdup. So far, I haven't found anything that really says, did he sign a guaranteed deal or did he sign a deal that was, more, I don't know, more like a normal deal, right? Sorry, I got sidetracked because I just realized on TikTok that the green screen is doing this stupid thing, man. Because I have a green field on there, man. But it is what it is. We are where we are, right? So I'm going to go ahead and get into this next piece talking about the training camp. And training camp starts officially on Tuesday. This one's also Raiders.com, right? So Raiders 2025 training camp preview, storylines worth following, dates to know, and more. And this went out on Friday as well, right? It says the Las Vegas Raiders have started filing into the practice facility for training camp. Camp, as always, will be a huge indicator for what team the Raiders can become and which players could be poised for a breakout season. Pete Carroll, in his first season coaching in Las Vegas, is tasked with changing the culture within the building and improving a team that went 4-13 in 2024. Here are a few storylines and dates to keep an eye on as training camp gets underway. So the first one is big rookie on campus. All right. Raiders rookies reported to camp Thursday, July 17th, in what's considered a promising rookie class. All eyes remain in the backfield on their first round pick, Ashton Jeanty. Ashton Jeanty was the first running back taken in the 2025 NFL draft, and for good reason. He fell yards shy of breaking Barry Sanders' single season rushing record that has stood for nearly 4 decades. Jeanty finished his career at Boise State with 5,631 total scrimmage yards and 50 rushing touchdowns, along with being named the Heisman Trophy runner up in 2024. It's a privilege to be in this space and to be a first round pick, Jeanty said during his introductory press conference. That's what I've worked to do, and I'm excited for that. I want that type of pressure on me and that type of expectation, and I'm just ready to go to work and prove why they took a chance on me. As pads come on in camp and the preseason, the running back's true potential will begin to reveal itself. He's such a strong and dynamic back, Colton Miller said. I mean, the way his cuts are so smooth, even if he gets hit, he's still balanced and it's super unique. He can't show his full ability right now, but off the field, he's very mature. He's a family guy. He brings great energy, and it shows a lot of maturity for his age. I'm so excited to block for him. See, and like Ashton Jeanty, a lot of people knock him for like being short, and people say he's small. The dude is not small; he is short. The dude is like a wrecking ball, right? And you know, I'm really excited to see what this looks like because like how Colton Miller was saying about his balance even after the hit. And I feel like being a shorter back, it gives him a lower center of gravity and it gives him more of ability to be able to bounce off defenders and keep his balance. And it's gonna make this team overall just a better team all the way around, right? Uh, Fredo Gonzalez was good, man. I hope he's our Barry Sanders. And really, I have full expectations that Ashton Jeanty is going to be our Barry Sanders. He's going to be our next running back that we talk about, like the Marcus Allens and Bo Jackson. Like, because if he is not that, I would be really, really surprised. I mean, watching this dude's tape from college is just like it looks like he's running against. It looks like he's like a full grown man running in Pee Wee, man, and but he's smaller. You know what I'm saying? But he's just like bouncing off of guys like crazy. It's like almost. It looks like he's an impossible tackle. You see tape where this like huge player just hits him, and he just like bounces right off the guy, and that's wild, right? Because what we've been looking at for a while is running backs like Zamir White, where he gets hit and he's 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage and just goes down immediately, right? And we haven't really had a lot of hope. Like we had Josh Jacobs a couple years ago, and he was a great running back and he looked very good, but there was even times where it was just like every time they'd hand Josh Jacobs the ball, I wasn't so sure he was going to do a great line of getting across that line of scrimmage, really in his last year with us. And so once Josh Jacobs left, our running back situation just became so absolutely dismal that of course, a quarterback can't get it done, right? Of course, our receivers can't compensate for that. So now being in a situation, and I know that John Spytek and Pete Carroll knew exactly what they were doing. They get the number one running back, right? We didn't have to move up for him. We get the number one running back, and it really opens things up for Chip Kelly's offense, right? It really gives the ability for Geno Smith to actually get some balls thrown in the air because teams have to stack the box, right? And what we've had in the last couple years is you have thank you for the heart me, appreciate it, Joel. What's up, Q? We have this situation where the quarterbacks sucked so bad that it was a no-brainer. You stack the box, especially against Zamir White and Alexander Madison. You stack the box, and then you make Garner Minshew beat you with his arm, and that's not going to happen, right? It's absolutely not going to work out for Garner Minshew to be beating teams' defenses with his arm. And so now we have Geno Smith, who can actually throw a very accurate deep ball. Um, we have good receiving core. On one of the comments, man, there was this guy that was just like kind of blasting me, saying, "Well, who's our wide receivers?" I said who our wide receivers are. And he's like, "Yeah, but that's what I'm saying is." Who are they? We need to upgrade in a wide receiver. And I really don't think that we need to do that, right? Because Jacoby Myers had over 1,000 receiving yards last year, right? And he's really considered our wide receiver too. And it's considered that we don't really have a wide receiver one, right? But he had over 1,000 receiving yards. And then we got second round rookie Jack Bech, right? And a lot of people don't really realize like the kind of dedication and effort that this dude has, right? A lot of what he's putting into is that his brother died in the New Year's Eve New Orleans terrorist attacks, right? He's really dedicated a lot of his effort, a lot of his career into representing his brother. And so he's not going to let us down. This dude is going to come in here and give his all. And then you got Dante Thornton Jr., who was drafted in the 4th round. And I don't know why he fell to the 4th round. I think in Tennessee, he just wasn't running a full route tree. But the dude, absolutely, if you look at his Oregon tape, he can run a full route tree. He runs a 4.3 40-yard dash, and he's like 6'5". The dude is absolutely going to be one of them, right? He's going to be that guy for us. And I'm really, really looking forward to what that looks like. So, and then Trey Tucker is getting a lot of praise, during the offseason, and that he's making really big strides in his development. So I really think that there's a good possibility that Trey Tucker actually gets utilized properly. Not to mention we got Brock Bowers, right, who was named as the number 1 tight end in the NFL after his rookie season. And then Michael Mayer, it sounds like Chip Kelly has some really big plans for him, and he's actually going to start to get utilized. And we can't scoff at Michael Mayer because he is actually a very, very good tight end. We just haven't been using it properly. All right, let's go on to this next section. It says, open to all. The veterans report to camp on July 22nd, with the first practice taking place the following day. Pads will come on early the following week. The Silver and Black will be in Allegiant Stadium for an open to the public practice on August 2nd at 1 p.m. Pacific time. Tickets are $5 each, and all proceeds are going to the Raiders Foundation. The next chance fans have to see the Raiders on the field will be August 7th at Lumen Field as Pete Carroll, Geno Smith, and company travel back to Seattle for the preseason opener. All right, section number 3, can't write off QB1. So since the beginning of the 2023 season, a total of 5 quarterbacks have started at least one game for the Silver and Black. And I just want to recap that, right? Because we had Jarrett Stidham start for us. We had Jimmy Garoppolo start for us. We had Aiden O'Connell start for us. We had Garner Minshew start for us. We had Desmond Ridder start for us, right? Jeff, we don't have a deep threat to move the defense back. Tucker needs to show up. We have Dante Thornton Jr., and he is just as fast, if not faster, than Trey Tucker. And, Trey Tucker's 5'9", Dante Thornton 6'5". We get both those guys out in the field, and it's going to look good, right? It's going to look really, really good. I'm really looking forward to it. All right, so now heading into training camp, the hope is Geno Smith will provide stability at the position for years to come. Smith is enjoying a late career resurgence after becoming the Seattle Seahawks starting quarterback in 2022. Having served as a backup for 6 seasons, and his last 3 seasons with the Seahawks, 2 of which were under Pete Carroll, he recorded 75 total touchdowns and 12,226 passing yards. Additionally, he's completed 68.5% of his passes since 2022, the 3rd highest of any quarterback in that span, minimum 1,000 passing attempts. Seeing number 7 under center is undoubtedly one of the most anticipated things to come in training camp and the preseason. Gino is a natural leader, Carroll said. He has developed over the years through all hard knocks and the tough ways that he's come up through it all. Sorry, hold up. I got a thing coming up. Okay, sorry about that. He has developed over the years through all hard knocks and the tough ways that he's come up through it all to be a great competitor. He knows he knows to be a great competitor, you have to go to for every opportunity that you have, and that's what he's done. And he's just illustrated to these guys that okay, if you're part of our program, this is what's expected. I mean, I couldn't ask for a better partner in bringing the world to our team. And so I really feel like Geno Smith is instrumental in helping build this culture that Pete Carroll is trying to build, right? Because that's essentially what Pete Carroll was brought here to do. We had an awful culture when it came to Josh McDaniels and that whole regime. Things got really messed up. And then AP was like really that rah guy that people hyped up in the building and outside of the building. That like, okay, we're seeing big changes, but he just didn't. He wasn't able to make the proper changes for long term sustainability. But what he did do was take us from the dumps and pull us out of there, right? And now Pete Carroll has a very good starting place because of that to really build a true culture that can have longevity. And I think that Geno Smith is a really big part of making that happen because he's already used to Pete Carroll and what needs to be done. So behind Smith is Aiden O'Connell, who has started 17 games for the Silver and Black over 2 seasons. In his 20 career games, he's amassed over 3,800 passing yards with a 20 to 11 touchdown to interception ratio. Now, that is not bad at all. If you said that that was one season, right, that Aiden O'Connell, let's say he was just the starter for all last year, like how I thought he should have been, instead of, Gardner Minshew, if he had thrown that in 17 games in one season, we'd be like, okay, I think we got something here, right? But that was over the course of 2 seasons in 20 games. So it's really, those numbers aren't really what they look like because it's not one season. And Aiden O'Connell is just, he's not fast enough. He's not mobile enough for Chip Kelly's offense. And I don't think that he would be a better starter than Geno Smith. However, I'm really happy to have Aiden O'Connell as our backup because if Geno Smith goes down, Aiden O'Connell is a guy that has already shown that he can move the ball, he can win games, and I've seen a lot of times where like when a starter goes down, the backup like can't get anything done, and it's basically like runs and screen passes, and Aiden O'Connell is a dude that can actually get it done. I don't think that he should be a starting quarterback, but as a QB number 2, very happy to have him. So the third quarterback in the room is rookie Cam Miller, 2-time FCS national champion at North Dakota State. The expectation is not only for him to push Smith and O'Connell in practices, but learn underneath them as well. And rumor has it that this is like the Tom Brady pick, right? That Tom Brady really liked Cam Miller. Tom Brady was also drafted in the 6th round, just like Cam Miller. I don't know that this dude, he came from a small school. I don't really know that this dude is actually going to be like, I don't really know that he's really going to be a guy that develops into a starter anytime in the NFL. But, I mean, you never know, man. You never know. You got players like Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant, that's now the starting quarterback for the 49ers. So, can't really count anybody out, right? So let's go ahead and move on to the next section, and that's section number 4, the status of the defensive line. Now, this is something that has me very concerned going into the season, especially with the Christian Wilkins news, and we're about to get into that. So the defensive line became depleted throughout the 2024 season, but there's hopes it's almost back to full strength for camp. Starters Max Crosby, Malcolm Kuntz, and Christian Wilkins all suffered season-ending lower body injuries, spending the large majority of this offseason still rehabbing. The last time all 3 players were at full strength, they accounted for a combined 31.5 sacks and 42 tackles for loss in 2023. Crosby and Kuntz, and I gotta mention that Christian Wilkins was not on the Raiders in 2023, right? He was with the Dolphins. So Crosby and Kuntz have returned to practice in OTAs and are expected to be full go to start training camp. Wilkins was placed on the physically unable to perform list, the PUP list, and that's on Friday. He can return at any time during training camp and the preseason, but if he's still on the PUP list after the 53-man roster deadline, he must miss at least 4 games before being eligible to return. And I think that that's a really, really big point to emphasize on, is that if just because he's on the PUP list now does not mean that he's going to be missing the automatic 4 games, right? There's still a chance that he could get to a spot where he's healthy enough to go ahead and come off of the PUP list. Now, there's been a whole lot of speculation about what's happening. He was seen at a golf tournament wearing a boot. People were very concerned. Mitchell Renz at Chat Sports broke the news that an insider that he knows in the building told him that there was a whole debate on if Christian Wilkins was going to get a second surgery or not. That apparently the Raiders wanted him to get a second surgery, but that Christian Wilkins was saying, no, I want to skip surgery and I want to push to play, right? And then Hondo Carpenter made mention that made it sound like that Christian Wilkins has already gotten the second surgery, and that's why he's in a boot, and that we're anticipating that he could be off of the PUP list before the deadline, right? Now, a whole lot of people on social media, I've seen people in my comments, a lot of people are asking, well, what if we move on from Christian Wilkins? What does that look like? And the thing is that especially since we restructured his contract already, we are not in a position to move on from Christian Wilkins. I think it's like $72 million that we would eat if we cut him this year. If we cut him next year, it's like $56 million, right? Huge, huge hits for a player that you cut. He's not going to get cut, right? We are going to hold on to Christian Wilkins. It's going to be what it's going to be. And we just got to really hope that this dude gets back on the field soon and that he's healthy and can continue to play because, yes, Christian Wilkins did not put up super huge numbers for us, right? But that doesn't really matter. What really matters is that he is a guy that is very disruptive on that line, and he really, really mostly opens things up. He's good against the run. He opens things up for Max Crosby. He opens up things for everybody around him. He's one of those guys that just makes everybody around him better because you have to account for Christian Wilkins. You absolutely have to account for him. So no more double and triple teaming Crosby on every play, and we need him back in the building. So this has been difficult recovery, and he's done everything he needs to do, Pete Carroll said of Wilkins earlier this offseason. He's been there every day. He's here early, working hard, but they're still working it, and he's not ready to get back out. And we're in the midst of a long, challenging process here. So fortunately, there's a lot of time, and we're going to take every bit of it. And this was quite a while back that Pete Carroll said this. So with Wilkins' current status, that gives other young defensive tackles an opportunity to carve out roles within the rotation, as the likes of Jonah Lalu and rookies Tonka Hemingway and J.J. Pegues look to make a splash. Veterans Lecky Fotu and Zach Carter will likely also be given an ample amount of reps to prove themselves. The group has been, I think they spearhead them in the defensive ends. They spearhead the message about effort in terms of you see those guys running around. Defensive coordinator Patrick Graham on the interior defensive line. I know you haven't been at every practice, but they're running around after doing a tough individual with Rob Leonard, and his crew over there. So that's been the most positive thing that I could talk about here. We're getting into, without getting into any specifics. All right, section number 5. Guess who's coming to practice? Actually, I want to talk about section number 4 real quick, right? Because this defensive line, I'm a little bit concerned about what this looks like for us as far as the fact that our defensive line depth doesn't really have big splashy names, right? And so we're put in a situation where we're looking at Jonah Lalu, we're looking at Lecky Fotu and Zach Carter, we're looking at rookies Tonka Hemingway and JJ Pegues. And I don't really know that I'm very, very confident in any of these players, honestly. And it's not to knock on them, and it's not to say that they can't be productive players and that they won't do a good job. It's that I just have not seen enough from any of them to feel real, real confident that these guys are going to be a great replacement, and we don't need Christian Wilkins because let's face it, Christian Wilkins is a whole lot better than any of these guys, right? And so basically, we're going to be having to make do with one of these guys. So I'm not really sure what that's going to look like. It doesn't give me a ton of confidence. I'm hoping that the worst case scenario is that Christian Wilkins is out until week 5, right? So let's go ahead and move down to section number 5. Now, section number 5, we're looking at guess who's coming to practice. The Las Vegas Raiders will host their former Cross Bay rivals, the San Francisco 49ers, in the midst of camp. This will be the first time since the 2023 season that the Raiders will hold a joint practice with another team, that team also coincidentally being the 49ers. A lot has changed, yet remained the same for each squad. The Silver and Black will have a few new shiny toys on offense to show off, including quarterback Geno Smith and 2025 first-round pick Ashton Jeanty. The 49ers will be going into the joint practice led by Brock Purdy, who was entering his first season as their starting quarterback the last time they came to the Raiders practice facility. They'll also be bringing the likes of Christian McCaffrey, Nick Bosa, George Kittle, and Fred Warner with them, who've been staples of their team for years now. The joint practice will be culminated with a preseason game in Allegiant Stadium on August 16th at 1 p.m. Pacific time. So we're actually going to be doing joint practices with the 49ers. A lot of people hate the 49ers. I'm not very fond of them, but the whole rival was about the Battle of the Bay, right? And a lot of people don't like this stance, but we're not in the Bay anymore, right? And so I'm not really too overly concerned with us having joint practices with them. But, I find it to be interesting that we're going to go ahead and do that again because last year we didn't do that stuff. And I really think that it set us back, right? I think that the joint practices are important. It gives a lot of opportunities that Antonio Pierce did not give the Raiders to really get prepared for the season. And we're going to have football, real football, right around the corner, you guys. We're about to start hitting some preseason games. We're less than a month away. And damn, dude, I am excited, bro. I am definitely excited. So it's Sunday today, man. I just wanted to get on real quick with the nation. I do also want to give a huge shout out. We finally hit 1,000 subs. It's taken a minute. I haven't been the most consistent at posting or going live. And I appreciate all the real ones, man, that have stuck around with me since day one. Straight up, I love you guys, man. And that's going to be it for today. I will catch you guys soon. You guys are going to see more content out of me. I'm really, really excited to be talking about real football. And then also keep in mind that we do watch parties over here. And just to always be clear, we're not streaming the game. We are watching the party together. That way you guys can talk in the chat. You guys can talk with me in the chat. And I'll be calling the game. Definitely looking forward to it. All right, nation. Like always, I love you guys. I'll catch you on the next one.